Welcome to Buckinghamshire New University. My name is Heather Dean. I'm Head of Skills and Business Support at Buckinghamshire Business First. And I'm really delighted to welcome you to what I hope is going to be a really exciting morning and a real focus on AI and innovation. We've got a very full agenda this morning, but before we begin, if the fire alarm goes, I'm not aware that we've got any practice runs, so I would suggest that you leave the building and Ian, the nearest, follow Ian. We have somebody at the front.
I'll cover it in line.
There's quite a lot of outdoor spaces, windows. I think there's a door at the back and around the corner as well. So, this event is a hybrid session, and we've got lots of businesses online as well. So, if you're online, welcome to the conference as well. And this morning, I'm going to be asking you some questions, and we'd very much like you to log on to an app called Slido. If you've not done it before, on your name badges, you'll see a QR code. I'd be really grateful if you could have a little play with that. Aim it in the direction of your phone, and it should burst into life. And you will see at the bottom that there is a passcode on there for you so that you can enter, because we're going to ask you lots of questions. And you can also, if you are online, you can answer these questions as well. And we will see the live results up on the board. So I'm going to just talk while you're having a play with your mobiles, and then I can ask some questions in a minute. So, before we dive into the fascinating world of AI and its benefits for your businesses, let me start with a quote. It's always nice to start these things with a quote, I think, and one that underlines the essence of innovation. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Well, Eleanor Roosevelt actually said that. And it reminds us that success in business, just like in life, is achieved through our dreams and our willingness to embrace innovation. So, what are we here to discuss today? Well, artificial intelligence, often referred to as AI, is no longer a futuristic concept. It's a reality, and it's transforming the way that we do business. And the potential benefits for your business are vast. AI isn't just about sophisticated algorithms and robots. It's about efficiency, profitability, and the transformation of your businesses. Let's start by addressing a common concern that many businesses have. Isn't AI just a buzzword? A technical trend, a tech trend that will soon fade away? Well, here's the reality. AI is no fleeting trend. It's an innovation that's here to stay, and it's a game changer. First and foremost, AI can supercharge your decision-making processes. In the fast-paced world of business, we need to make informed decisions quickly. AI can produce vast amounts of data in seconds, providing insights and recommendations that can guide you to make the best choices for your company. AI can help enhance the customer experience with chatbots and virtual assistants. You can provide 24/7 support, personalised marketing strategies, and improve the overall customer journey. And it's a powerful tool for streamlining operations. It can optimise supply chain management, forecast demand, and automate repetitive tasks. Just think about all the time and resources you can save by letting AI handle all the routine stuff while you focus on what really matters. But here's a crucial point. AI isn't just for big corporations and those with massive budgets. Small and medium-sized businesses can also harness the power of AI. Many AI tools are now accessible and affordable, allowing businesses of all sizes to compete on a level playing field. And let's not forget about innovation. AI can spark creativity in your business by suggesting new ideas, automating research, and helping you spot trends in your industry. It's like having a brainstorming partner that never gets tired. Unlike me, maybe. Now, I know some of you might still have reservations about AI, and I hope that's why you're here today, to get rid of some of those reservations. And perhaps one of your thoughts is, will it take away jobs? Is it safe and secure? And these are all really valid concerns, and we can explore them this morning during our session. However, I don't believe AI is here to replace humans. It's here to augment our capabilities, make us more efficient and effective in our work, and helping us to close some of the skills gaps that we may have in our businesses. In conclusion, benefits of AI for your business are immense. It can revolutionize the way you operate, serve your customers, drive innovation. And as we delve deeper this morning into some of these subject areas, you'll have the opportunity to learn from experts, share insights through networking at lunchtime with your peers, and discover the practical implications of AI for your own business-specific needs. Remember, the future belongs to those who embrace innovation. And AI is your ticket to the future. So maybe we should dream big and make a start on that incredible journey. So I'd like to say in advance, thank you for being a part of this conference. And I wish you all a morning filled with lots of exciting discoveries and lots of fruitful discussions on AI and innovation. So let's hope now that the technology is behind us and starts to work after I've given it the big speech. So, question time. Have you all joined? Are you all there? All at the ready, with mobile phones on. Let's have a look at the first question. How do you envisage AI benefiting your business the most? And you can tick off all those that apply. And if you're online, don't forget to fill in the answers as well. Do you think it's like watching popcorn cook? You're never quite sure when to take it out of the pan or the microwave. Has it actually finished or has it not? 83% say it will automate routine tasks. Cost saving, high up there. Enhancing customer experience. Actually, that's higher than I thought it might be this morning. 58% optimizing data analysis, and 54% expanding market reach and discovering new business opportunities. Interesting answers. Are there any benefits that AI could bring to your business that perhaps weren't listed in that previous question? Have a think about that one. There's all sorts here, aren't there? Brainstorming we've already mentioned. Support for neurodiverse employees. It's an interesting one. Perhaps we can expand on that later. Sense checking. Oh gosh, everybody's coming up with lots of different things now, all sorts of things. It doesn't say doing the ironing though, does it? Okay. What barriers or challenges do you face in integrating AI into your business? And again, you can choose all of them that apply. Are you worried about the cost of it? Is that an issue? Integrating it. Where does it fit in your business model? Insufficient understanding. Lots of things there. So it looks as if the top three, lack of knowledge. Hopefully you'll go away today with a little bit more. Concerns about data security and privacy issues, high up on the agenda, and rightly so, in my opinion. And the third one there, insufficient understanding of the potential benefits of AI for your specific industry. And the last question for now. Are there any other challenges with integrating AI into your business that weren't on that list, that we've not thought of? What could they be? Copyright. That's an interesting conundrum, isn't it? Who owns the IP of something that's created through artificial intelligence? Factual accuracy. What goes into AI is what's going to come out. How do you restrict what goes in so it is all correct? Keeping everybody on board and staff. So we've got the people theme recurring throughout. And we're going to be using your answers that you give us today in looking at how we support businesses and support you guys with some of the issues that you are raising. Homogenization, that's a big word. Okay. All right, interesting thoughts. It's got you thinking, at least, about AI and some of the issues. Hold those thoughts, please. What I'd now like to do is to introduce you to Ian Harper, who is the Commercial and Business Development Director of Buckinghamshire University. He's going to tell us a little bit about the university and why they're interested in AI. Ian.
Thank you, Heather, and good morning, everybody. My presentation is going to be somewhat two-dimensional after that. I don't have the levels of interactivity, I'm afraid. But it's my great pleasure to welcome you to Buckinghamshire University. We're delighted to be hosting and to be a partner of Buckinghamshire Business First this morning. My job is just to kind of welcome you, set the scene, and as Heather said, tell you a little bit about the university. I can't tell you what our stance is going to be on artificial intelligence, because we haven't yet determined it, although we did have a governing body meeting the other night where we started to discuss what our approach might be, because as you can imagine for an academic institution, there are fears over things such as academic integrity and plagiarism. But equally, I think it's probably sensible to realise that we're never going to be able to police this technology, so it's far better to embrace it. So the challenge for us as an institution is, how do we support our students to embrace this technology without compromising that academic integrity? But let me tell you a little bit about Buckinghamshire New University. We have a 132-year history, although many of you who've kind of been brought up and work in this area will know us by some of our previous names. We've been a technical college in the past, we've been a university college in the past. So we became a university officially in 2007, but what's been common throughout that 132-year history is a really strong focus on vocational education. If you look at our course portfolio, you'll see the vast majority all have that real world application. And actually, although we can't do it today, I'd love to show you any of you around if you ever want to come and have a look around. We have got a wealth of simulation suites, of laboratories covering subjects such as nursing, IT, engineering. We've got a human performance lab above us, for example, as well. We've got a flight simulator. We've got sound and vision studios. We've got some great facilities here. We've got 3 campuses. You're in the main campus at High Wycombe, but we do have a campus at Uxbridge, which predominantly is used for our nursing provision, and we have a campus at Aylesbury, and we also deliver on other sites as well. So we've got a partnership with Pinewood, so you can imagine we deliver a lot of the film industry courses out at Pinewood. We own and operate Missenden Abbey in Great Missenden, and we are launching an international hotel and hospitality school to operate out of what is currently a conference centre. And we deliver on employer sites. I've got a couple of colleagues in the audience today who work with me on the apprenticeship side of our business, and we deliver on employer sites in partnership with people like Thames Valley Police in Berkshire, with Oxford Health Trust over in Oxford, and on other employer sites as well. We're a widening participation institution. So what that means is we try and open our doors to as many students as possible. We have around 19,000 students. That's a lot of students, and you won't see 19,000 today because they're spread across those campuses. We've got over 1,000 apprentices spread in employers all around the region, and we have a good number of students working at partner institutions where we effectively franchise or validate our programs with private providers and colleges. We began our apprenticeships in 2018. This is a subject close to my heart. I've worked in apprenticeships for 23 years now. And it was a natural thing for the university to go into higher and degree level apprenticeships, given our history and given our course portfolio being very vocational. And we started from scratch with 0. We currently have something in the region of 1,500 apprentices. I think we've taught our 2,000th apprentice because we've had several hundred complete over the last few years. But that ranges from nursing, policing, engineering, digital, senior leader, operating department practice. We've got a whole wealth of subjects that we deliver apprenticeships in. So do talk to us if you're interested in apprenticeships for your business. But we've also this year launched our new 5-year strategy. It's called Thrive 2028, and a key part of that is civic engagement, which includes events like this, welcoming stakeholders, welcoming businesses onto our premises, breaking down that perception that a university is only where students go, and also for the public as well. You'll see members of the public walking through our campus today. We're doing everything we can to make our campus as permeable as we can. A few highlights from our strategy. So it is that permeability, so making sure people feel welcome and wanted to come on campus. Making sure that we're business oriented and aligned to our strategic partners, local authorities, employers, health trusts, the police force, and so on. Our education needs to be flexible. I won't read all of these out, but this is where artificial intelligence comes in. You know, we need to be adapting our programs to make sure that they embrace what AI can do for our students and prepare them for the world of work. We are a teaching-oriented university. We do research, but we don't do research in huge quantities as some of the larger universities in the country do. We are teaching-oriented. That's the heart of what we do. But the research that we do, we want to make sure that it enhances the lives and society, the lives of our stakeholders. Reaching out to our communities, I talked about making the campus as permeable as possible. You'll see a number of initiatives, particularly in and around Wycombe, where the university starts to pop up. We've taken, for example, the Brunel Shed, which is the building immediately facing you when you come out of High Wycombe railway station, and we're talking with a local authority about other properties in the town where the university might play a part in civic engagement. But do talk to us. You know, we have got some of the facilities I've talked about. I've got a couple of colleagues sat right at the back, Richard and Jack there. Put your hands up, Richard and Jack. If you want to come and talk to us about the facilities, how you might use them as a business, we are happy to make them available to you. I've talked about human performance labs, nursing suites, cyber suites. We've got a whole range of stuff here. Talk to us about student placements. We're really, really keen to make sure our courses are as applicable as possible. If you're interested in taking a student on an internship, come and talk to us about that. Clearly, I could talk about apprenticeships all day. I won't carry on doing so. And knowledge transfer partnerships as well. But there's lots you can talk to us about, and we'd love to do as much as we can to help you, our community. So finally, let me finish off the bit that Heather started so well. So evacuation safety, it's not just a question of following me. The simplest way out is those double doors at the back. They will open if the alarm goes off. It's not scheduled to do so. If for whatever reason that door is blocked, we can go through there and turn left. The assembly point is on the concourse out the front there. Facilities-wise, we've got a lot of building work going on at the moment. You'll notice when you came in, we are building an enormous new atrium, which will house a student refectory and a whole bunch of other student support facilities. But it's going to be a space that, again, is available for local businesses, so do come along and have a look around it. We would have liked to give you a tour today, but there aren't enough hard hats and hobnail boots to go around. But the facilities, it means that the nearest toilets are along the corridor and upper floor. The ones on this floor are out of action because of that. If you need an accessible toilet, then we've got some in the ground floor of the Gateway building just across the concourse. Wi-Fi connectivity, I think if you're not already on, I think there is details on here. It's the BNU guest. We don't have the tour of the atrium space, as I said before, but we do have lunch. And it's now my great pleasure to introduce Justin. Justin's going to come along. He's a senior lecturer from our... you're not from the School of Business and Law, are you? No, you're from CDI, aren't you?
CDI.
I will let you introduce yourself, but your talk is called Welcome to the Future.
We'll call it that.
We'll call it that.
We'll call it that.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So, morning, everyone. Ooh, big microphone. Right. I'm used to talking loudly to make sure the students stay awake. Cool. So, if I move this on a bit. So, yes, I'm from the School of Creative and Digital Industries. But I will introduce myself sort of, briefly. So I've spent a lot of time in industry. So this is not an academic talk in any way. I've been with this university for about a year. I've owned my previous business for over 15 years, still going somewhat. And before that, a lot of time in industry as well. And I'll get more into that as well and help build you up more of a picture of that. Okay, so focusing on artificial intelligence, I'm focusing on a particular question, which is, can AI alleviate the skills shortage? And that's really to structure this presentation, hopefully answer that question as well, but also educate you in artificial intelligence, what that is and what that means. There's a lot of talk about it in the media and so forth. There's a lot of excitement about it, and hopefully I can sort of help elucidate that and give you some clarity and a wider understanding of what that means. Okay, so we'll start with the skill shortage. So skill shortage, affects pretty much everything, all industries. And we've got a graph on there which I sort of grabbed from a government document to give us sort of some idea. Now, COVID notwithstanding, which puts an enormous dent in that, but you can see from 2013, so sort of a 10-year period, that there's a general sort of rise in skill shortages of various sorts. And by skill shortage, we simply mean the gap between the skills that employers need and the skills that workers actually have, and that gap is widening. Other things to sort of point out on there, the different areas that we have, so hospitality, health and social care, professional and scientific, all these different kind of things. Now, as you can imagine, some of those require technologies of various sorts of digital natures, of which AI will be one, but also we can be safe in the knowledge that the human touch is not going to go away anytime soon. So, whether that's hospitality or healthcare in particular, human beings have their place and will remain to do so. But the gap is widening, and it says, according to some estimates, by 2030, which is not that long away, demand for skilled workers could outstrip supply, and it says a shortage of 85 million people, which is about the population of Egypt, if you want to know. So more than the entire population of the UK. That said, that sounds like a scary number, but the population of the planet is about 8 billion. So if you put it in that context, maybe not quite so bad. But obviously we are looking largely with the context of AI about sort of intellectual type pursuits, decision-making and skills. So that kind of tempers those numbers somewhat. Now there's a number of reasons why we have that skill shortage. One of which, ironically, is the rapid race of change in technology. So in some sense, you could say the technology industry has shot itself in the foot in that there's an awful lot of skill shortage around the technology that's meant to help improve us to be more efficient. And that's sort of shown up in a variety of places as being an issue. AI is sort of a big and rising thing, and there aren't enough people that know enough about it to be able to put it into practice. Aging population being another one, obviously affecting sort of things like healthcare and stuff like that. And obviously, as the population, it's not so much that the population is going to decrease, it's going to be the disparity with an aging population. There will be more people who are older, who are unable to work, not grasping the technologies so much, and the younger generation need to kind of fill that gap. So how do we deal with that side of it? Mismatch between education and the labour market. So, as an educational institution, we're having to deal with the new technologies, and things are, as I'm sure you're aware, increasing more and more and more as time goes on. And so, it's incumbent upon educational institutions to try and sort of, fill that gap and make sure that we're remaining current and relevant to industry. And then lack of training and development. So that's something that, it has its rewards, investing in training, but that's also an issue. Okay, so in order to answer the question, we've looked at the skills gap. So can AI help fill the skill gap? We need to understand what AI is. So someone asked me this morning whether I use AI, and the answer is yes, daily. And here's an example. Credit where it's due. This was ChatGPT that did this. So I knew what I was looking for, and one of the sort of aspects of AI is using it, as has already been mentioned, as a collaborative tool. It's not a replacement. So in here, I've got a sort of few example definitions. So I asked ChatGPT, I haven't got the exact prompt there, but I basically said, give me several definitions of AI, because there's lots of definitions of AI. It gave me about 10. And I've kind of like reworded the top ones, which I was kind of looking for, kind of accelerating the process, again, using AI to benefit and accelerate, not to replace. So the first one there, computer science, AI focused on creating systems capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. And I've got a list there that's worth noting. So problem solving, learning, understanding natural language, and decision making. Now, for those that have sort of come across ChatGPT, seen what's in the news and what that's capable of, there's quite a focus on understanding a natural language and producing natural language. But it's broader than that. There's a lot of other things that are involved. So problem solving, decision making, whilst the machine learning stuff of today can do some of that, it's not the only technology in AI's arsenal to be able to address these kind of things. So that's a computer scientific kind of view. The other one is the philosophical view, which I find sort of quite fascinating, but we won't dwell on. But this asks questions, about, how do we create machines that can mimic or simulate human behaviour? How does the mind work? What is the nature of consciousness and thought? So these are like big, enormous questions, not ones that we need to worry about answering today. There are philosophers who deal with this kind of stuff, but it is a debate, and then there is a perception that AI is going to take over the world, and then we think about Skynet and stuff like that and how scary it might be, and hopefully I can quell those fears a little bit this morning. And then we have the economic, which is more going to be sort of, your concern as businesses about how we use AI. So within that one, it's a set of technologies and tools. And that's something to bear in mind, so just right there. It's technologies and tools. It's a set of, it's not just one thing. With the potential to automate tasks, so you had that in your responses this morning, to automate tasks and increase productivity, create new business opportunities and impact various industries and economies. So this slide serves two purposes. One is to give you a sort of broader definition of AI, rather than all the stuff that's going on at the moment about Bard and ChatGPT, large language models and that kind of stuff, and setting it into a wider context, as well as actually, here's an example of using ChatGPT and how that can be used for benefit and accelerating our productivity. Okay, so now we have a question, and I'm going to go old school on this one. So I haven't got buttons for you to press, but we'll see what happens. So the birth of artificial intelligence, so we've heard a lot about it recently, and I'm going to sort of try and get a response out here that's sort of fairly non-biased, so bias will come into this somewhere along the line as well, and I'm going to just do it by a show of hands. So who thinks that artificial intelligence emerged in the 2000s? Okay, got a couple of hands up, that's about it, okay. How about in the 2010s? Who thinks AI has come about in 2010s? Anyone? No? Okay, that's good, okay. 1980s. Right, okay. Good one. Okay, so good number from there. So yeah, that's good. Okay, and 1950s. Anyone think 1950? Oh, very good. Excellent. I should give you all gold stars, shouldn't I? Yes. So you're absolutely right. 1950s is where it is. This goes back a long way. And there's been various waves of AI, as it's been called. So there's been, and I won't dwell on it, but there's been AI winters, where there've been sort of AI, new technologies, grand new openings and capabilities and all the rest of it, and then actually didn't quite deliver quite the way we thought it would. And they kind of like died away and came back again. I think that's different this time around, by the way. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is briefly go through a little bit of a, it's not a history talk. What this is doing is giving you a narrative to help you build you up in like the kind of tools and technologies that are involved in AI. So don't think about the dates too much, but it is a way of introducing the capabilities. So we start off in 1950, funnily enough, and then we had a guy called Alan Turing, who many of you may have heard of. If you haven't, go to Bletchley Park, and you'll find out a lot more about him then. But he was involved in the Second World War, and he was a very smart mathematician, and he used the picture there, which is the Enigma machine, which was able to decode the German communications. And coming out of that, he came up with sort of the question of, you know, are computers, are machines capable of thought and reasoning? So that's going back a long way, and he was sort of, you know, very insightful and sort of instrumental in the birth of this. Then we go to 1956, and we have John McCarthy, and he had a sort of conference that was put together, relatively sort of small community of people, and it was there that the phrase artificial intelligence was first coined and used, you know, then as kind of like an identifiable sort of field of study. And he also invented a programming language, which you can't see on there, called Lisp, which I spent many a year programming on. And that was a significant step forward, because prior to that, computers were generally used for sort of like mathematical calculations, either sort of scientific or business, and this started manipulating symbols in various ways. So that was a significant step forward, and is sort of instrumental in the way a lot of programming languages work today, which are far more powerful than their predecessors. Then we go to 1966, and this is Joseph Weizenbaum, and he created the first chatbot. So hands up if you've used a chatbot of any sort. Pretty much everybody. Okay, some are good, some not so much. He invented a chatbot called Eliza, which was sort of a psychologist, sort of therapist kind of thing. And he created sort of conversational dialogue using his system, and that was quite sort of convincing that it was having an intelligent dialogue with you. Now, it was that got me involved in artificial intelligence in the first place. So the machine there, it's actually a TRS-80 from the 1980s, which was where I first came across Eliza as a program, and that kind of ignited my enthusiasm into the field. So moving on from there, there you go. 1987, obviously I haven't changed a bit, maybe improved somewhat, maybe. So in 1987, I got my degree in artificial intelligence and computing. They said, well, no, technically it was computing and artificial intelligence. They put the computing first rather than the artificial intelligence so I could get a job. They've changed their mind since, and probably now it would be better if it were the other way around. So at around that time, so the 1980s, quite a few of you put your hands up on there, there was kind of like a resurgence in AI, and we were doing expert systems and stuff like that. So an expert system is a system that has knowledge embedded within it to deal with a very specific, a very narrow field of expertise, which might be in the medical field, it might be law, it could be prospecting for oil, things like that, very sort of narrowly focused. And these systems will be encoded with information to help them provide decision-making processes for its users, and added a lot of value in a lot of places. And that was being used in industry way back then. A few other things that were happening then, so vision processing was happening. Obviously computing power back then was significantly less than it is now, by several orders of magnitude. So what we can do today is partly because of that increase in computational power that we have. And there's other things that were going on in there. So natural language processing was being done, again, sort of symbolic in nature. So you've all had your lessons at school about grammar and so forth. So if you're trying to understand how to form a proper sentence, then you're thinking about the grammar. You're not using statistical analysis like large language models are doing today. So quite a different approach. Moving forward from that, 1997, Gary Kasparov had a bit of a bad day. So he lost on the chess front, and again, that was sort of using sort of symbolic kind of stuff. So you understand a game of chess where you're looking forward a number of steps to figure out what the next best step might be, and at that point, that was a significant step forward. The fact that it was actually able to achieve that. Moving forwards to 2016, we have Lee So-dol, who's Korean, I believe, and we have a game called Go, and I won't explain the rules, but I'm happy to do so afterwards. And this was a significant step forward because Go is significantly harder than chess. So with chess, for every step, there's about 20 moves that you can possibly make. And then obviously if you look forward, then that sort of ends up being very large numbers of possibilities. But at each step, it's about 20. With Go, it's about 200. Yeah, so instead of going 2,400, whatever, you're going 240,000 and so forth, and it ends up being very big. And that's when we started using machine learning, and when we found out more about the powers of it. And there were sort of emergent properties that came out of that as well. So it came up with moves in Go that humans had never thought of. So it was quite sort of insightful, in quotes, in a way. And so he lost to that one. There were 5 games. Lee So-dol won one of those 5 and lost the other 4. So that was kind of a major step forward. So AlphaGo is what that's called. If you want to look it up, there is actually a film, a documentary on YouTube. It's about an hour and a half long that gives you the full story. And then we have today. So we have ChatGPT, we have Bard, there's various other ones. And then that can come up and do some sort of very good things for us in terms of producing text of various sorts. So I had a little bit of fun with that one. I won't read it all out to you, maybe the first line. In AI's grand tale, we find a cast so fine, Alan Turing led with his brilliant design, cracking codes in wartime, a genius indeed. His machine sowed AI's very first seed. John McCarthy you get the idea, right? So the fact that it can do this kind of thing, that you can prompt it, you can say what style it's going to be in, and it comes out with coherent, sensible stuff, pretty amazing. And I have to say, going back from 1987 when I started out to where we are today, I did not believe would be possible in my lifetime. And I'm not done yet, and neither is the industry, and it's going to kick off even further than that. Okay, so a couple of specific things then, to sort of give you a little bit of an idea, and also some of the, sort of the industry type applications of this as well. So the first one is expert systems in a little bit more detail. So an expert system is done by basically picking the brains of the experts, fundamentally. So we go through a process called knowledge elicitation where we find out what the experts know, how they come about the decisions that they do, and then we encode that, and I won't say how, into a knowledge base, and then we use what's described as an inference engine, or sort of reasoning type process against that knowledge to help users to come up with the answers that they might need to have. And those end users, they might be users on the internet, they might be internal business users, they might be, and what I've done in my experience is a lot with call center agents and stuff like that, where you want to have all of your call center agents, of which there may be hundreds, behaving and being able to respond in the same way as your smartest people. And we used AI for that. So there's quite a lot of that's been happening. What I've got in the middle there is some of the companies that I've worked for over the course of time. I won't go through all of them. I will mention Inference, which was around at the time, sort of 1990s. So they had a program called the Automated Reasoning Tool, or ART, which was doing this kind of thing. And I was using that, for example, at Ford for helping to estimate the cost of parts manufacture. Much to the annoyance of their suppliers, because they found out with how much they were being ripped off or otherwise. So we were using it for that. So that's expert systems. And then things have moved forward somewhat from then. Well, I'll say that. We still use expert systems today. So doing things with sort of symbolic kind of capabilities is very, very useful. And I'll explain a bit more about that in a moment. And then what we now have is what's described as machine learning, and I'm not going to explain that in any detail at all, but there's this notion of deep learning, who you might have heard of, or neural networks, which is a different way of doing things. So rather than us symbolically encoding how the knowledge is, it basically figures it out for itself. You tell it what the sort of inputs are, you tell it what the answers should be, and it kind of fuzzily works out what the answers should be in the middle. And I won't explain it in much more detail than that, other than it involves some fairly complex maths and sort of networks of sort of weighted values. So it's basically doing massive number crunching. It's all statistical. And what happens in between, no one really quite knows. Yeah, so people are still sort of challenged by that, about how it can do everything that it does today. But these knowledge neural networks, deep learning systems are basically very, very effective. But that's been done through lots and lots of experimentation about what works and what doesn't. And then in the bottom right, we've got kind of like a potted history. I'm not going to go through it. You'll be glad to hear, around large language models, which gets us to the kind of ones that you might have heard of today, like Bard and Bing and ChatGPT and so forth. And that's got a relatively recent history. So ChatGPT 3 came out in 2020, and there's been lots of other stuff going on besides, and I'm not going to go into detail of that one, other than there's lots of people working at it, and it's getting better and better all the time. Okay, so a little bit more. So what technique to use? So what you need to get from this is that there are lots of different tools in the box, and from a business perspective, you need to consider AI in the same way that you would any other technology. What is it good for? What value add does it have? What implications does it have for me as a business? And then what the technology is will depend. So it might be that you want to do symbolic type stuff that's been done for a very long time, and that's the point I want to get across. From a skills gap point of view, we've been doing this for a very long time. It's able to facilitate and improve the capabilities of organizations for a very long time in terms of consistency and being able to reduce the number of people that are involved and improve the quality of that, or at least get those people to be doing other and more value-added things. And then we have statistical stuff kind of in the middle, and then machine learning at the end, which is what the kind of buzz is all about today. And which one you choose is going to very much depend. So the arrow at the bottom there, if you haven't got much data, then you're probably going to be down the symbolic end. The other part of this one is it's more explainable. It can tell you how it came up with the decision that it came up with. Oh, you said this, and A was true, and B was true, therefore I was able to conclude something, and it can tell you that. Machine learning models can't really tell you why it came up with the answer that it came up with. Neither can the people that wrote the programs, interestingly enough. If you've got vast amounts of data, then you can use machine learning. So we can use that for vision. Obviously, the tools of today, like ChatGPT and Bard and so forth, their large amount of data is the internet. There's a lot of it. Some of it is good, some of it not so much. So again, when we're talking about bias and appropriate use of AI, we have to be careful what we feed it. So that's come up already. Okay, so AI ethics. So this image actually comes from a film that came out in 1992. It was a horror story, so hopefully we don't repeat the horror story. This was actually Lawnmower Man by Stephen King. I watched the film, I taught quite recently, and it's a bit naff by today's standards, but it's still worth a look. If you want to waste an hour and a half, feel free, it's on YouTube. So when it comes to AI ethics, which is sort of the other aspect of it, and I want to sort of draw the analogy with social media. So everyone knows about social media now. We know what it's good at, and we know, or we're learning, what the implications of it are in terms of mental health, social and political stability. So when it comes to the use of AI ethics, we have similar kind of things going on. So fake everything. So everyone's aware of sort of fake news where people just type stuff that's fake. We now know we can have fake videos. We can fake just about everything, and it's very difficult now to tell truth from fiction. So our biggest potential casualty of AI is truth. So bear that one in mind. That one's majorly significant. Other things that are happening, so there's been talk of security and the use of that, which works both ways. We can use AI to protect ourselves, and we can also, or some people can use AI to attack others. So it's the people that are the problem in this one largely. AI is a tool, a very powerful tool that can be used in both directions. Synthetic relationships, that's a bit dodgy. I'll sort of leave that one to one side. Other ones, so the bottom ones there, we've got automated lobbying, A to Z testing. So many will have heard of A to B testing, but this is much more extensive than that. So automated persuasion, again, political implications of that quite significant. And I will refer you, look at it afterwards, a very good YouTube video that will expand on that. It's about an hour, very, very worthwhile watching that one. Okay. Here we go. Can AI alleviate skill shortage? So yes, in all of these ways. And the point I want to make with that is we've been doing this all for some time already. So I've been doing it for over 30 years. Different technologies, they are obviously more advanced now. But the main thing I want to get across from that is there are lots of tools in the box. Don't just go for one tool. It's not a panacea. So I won't go through all of that because we're running out of time. So yes, we can. And no, we can't in some ways because the world is changing so much. So we're getting increased complexity. We don't have data that we need for everything. ChatGPT has the entire internet. But if you're working in a small business, maybe you don't have the data set necessary to use machine learning. But as I say, there are other ways of doing it. If you have less data, there's expert system type approaches that you can use. So shortage of AI expertise that we've mentioned. Also ethical concerns as well. So, what kind of decision making can we leave to AI? Which ones not? Are we going to use it for deciding whether someone gets a job or not? Are we going to decide whether someone is allowed to claim asylum or not using AI? These kind of things. So sort of quite things that we are grappling with at the moment and we don't necessarily know the answers to. So AI is not a panacea, but it is a very, very useful tool. So it's not a case of, you've got your business and you'll just pour in a little bit of AI and everything's going to get better. It's a tool in the box just like any other technology. And you need to understand what it is and what it can do for you. And when someone says they're doing AI or the system has got AI in it, you need to ask exactly what they mean, because people will mean different things. And you will need to challenge and push back on that and find out exactly what it is they're doing and how that actually adds value to any business situation. It doesn't replace conventional business software. So on the question you had at the beginning, it was like automating repetitive tasks. Well, computers can do that on their own without AI. AI is a particular subfield of computing. You can do a lot to benefit and automate your businesses using conventional technologies as well. So AI is part of the picture, it's not the whole picture. You might hear the phrase AI first, where you get AI sort of organizations who are saying, well, everything needs to start with AI. I would disagree with that. It's one tool of many, and you need to consider all of the options particular to your business. And then the last one, even if you are using conventional technologies or you have conventional technologies in place, you can still augment that with AI. So don't go replacing all of your existing systems. AI is something that you can integrate with what you already have and improve customer service, user experience, use language generation and make it sort of more approachable from that point of view. So I hope that's been useful. Happy to talk afterwards at length. I could talk all day, but I'll have to stop now. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. I love the talk of large language models. I think my vocabulary has just expanded rather rapidly. But thank you for that. What I'd like to do now is introduce colleague Bruce McClelland from the Knowledge Transfer Network, who's going to talk about what's happening at Innovate now.
Good morning. First of all, an apology. I'm working with Innovate UK, and Innovate UK has a whole division around artificial intelligence, massive UK opportunity. The speaker was going to come from that department and talk to you about it, but unfortunately he's bailed out. I myself work within the more regional impact team, and I've always said, key message with Innovate UK, no wrong door. So we're going to prove a point here today, Heather. No wrong door, speak to me, and I'll link you to what I'm going to show you at any time. So, first of all, the Knowledge Transfer Network is now officially absorbed into Innovate UK. Can a quick show of hands, have we heard of Innovate UK? That is excellent. My regional job is going well. Excellent. So Innovate UK is obviously the national organisation spearheading the UK's capability and business growth in all sectors, and putting that funding and wraparound support in that can actually make us enabled to do that. It has an effect, a cube of activity, as the CEO keeps trying to explain. So products and services, that is the things that we are putting out there for you as academic institutions and small businesses and large businesses alike. The services there to help you engage with the opportunity. The other area of major concern is domains. So in other words, getting out into the regions, looking at the clusters. Where can we be building on those clusters? We also have a very, very keen area on domains. So actually looking at what the UK does in terms of all sector capability, and then making the connections to build it all up so that internationally we are on the stage and we have something to say. It is a very complicated landscape. Many of you have just said, I've heard of Innovate UK. Actually, you're probably thinking, yes, I went to some sort of networking event. I logged in online and it was a briefing about some sort of competition. Well, the competition, if you probably found, is just one little square out there on the left. I can't actually see the slide. But the grant side of it, there are many types of grants. There are themed grants. There's some innovation loans. There's all sorts of things out there on the funding side of it, which you're very familiar with. But if you look at this, we are making investments and we want you to succeed. So on the right-hand side, a whole plethora of services to enable you to either find the funding, utilize the funding, and maximize the impact of your business using that funding. There are other things as well. There are loans. There are SBRI calls where we have found government agencies needing to find small businesses direct contracts. So it's direct contracts out there. So we haven't got time because Lindsay gets quite upset when I go over time, so I'm never going to be able to explain all of that. But as I said, no wrong door. Bits of this are very relevant. I'd also like to draw attention down there that in terms of actually scaling and utilising your business and business planning, there's the Innovate UK Edge team. And I have just found a colleague, Graham, put your hand up. He is here. So there's national teams around here that can actually focus on business on a regional level. I also hasten to add that I've also found out that 3 members of staff of the now 900 at Innovate UK, 3 of them in High Wycombe. Okay? So there you go. I told you we're here. Right, so what I'm going to say is, look, there's lots of things there that would be relevant, and it's not about AI at the moment, but we are here, fully accessible, no wrong door. We can link you to all of that. Okay. But we are here to talk AI, wasn't it? Right, what do I know about AI? I might not know much, but I do know sector experts within the teams that I work with. AI is clearly the big thing in town at Innovate UK. There is a lot of effort going in terms of the support programs, specifically on AI. We see it as a massive opportunity. We can see huge growth in the companies and universities taking it and the practitioners in it. It is going exponential. So although we have a need to embrace it, we need to also apply it ethically, and we also need to apply it in the right way, in the right areas to enable the UK to grow. So this is about the sector growths, but it is also very much really about what we're calling like levelling up with a little L and a little U. This is about looking at sectors that, why are we not seeing the take-up that it should be? Because we can see that if they did do that kind of injection of support, we will be able to be seeing a much better UK performance in AI capability. So it is about pushing funding and thoughts into certain areas for now so that they come up to speed where other sectors have already grabbed the flag. That's the mission. So Bridge AI, which is the name of the program at Innovate UK, it's about bridging those connections. Yes, okay, the construction industry is one of it, but let's not get confused between bridge and construction at this point, okay? Right, I'm sure that the original speaker would have gone into some huge detail what was going on the right-hand side, but what we can see is that effectively the doubling of excitement, the doubling of effort, the doubling of investment in 3 years alone. Looking at the little red bits on the right-hand side there, artificial intelligence industries, 1.6 billion worth of funding gone in so far in 2018. But if you look at what's happening now, if you look at 2021, 3.1 billion. So a double of excitement, a double of take-up, a double of practitioners in that 3 years. So, you know, the race is off. We need to make sure we stay ahead of the game. Okay. But as I said, not all sectors are what are deemed to be maybe taking the advantage that is available. So what are these sectors that Innovate UK has decided to put the initial 100 million into? Well, agriculture. I believe Heather was telling me quite frequently that agriculture is quite big in Buckinghamshire. So there is the opportunity for one. Transport and warehousing. Warehousing, you know, it sounds specific, but transport as a sector, massive opportunity. Construction, as I said, the optimization of construction thinking, and creative industries. Another big thumbs up from Heather, I believe, for Buckinghamshire. Right, so the opportunity. If we looked at the creative industries, we are looking at the support of what is already the 31 billion of UGDP within the the creative industries. Pinewood definitely on the radar. We can be looking at boosting the productivity and generating AI that could actually increase the productivity across this sector. Bridge AI is also looking, as I said, the transport sector widely. The opportunity there is looking at the predictive models, and that could impact safety, route optimization, the insurance of this, the supply chain optimization, not just warehousing. But yes, asset use and optimization, we see this as a growth area. Likewise, construction, sustainability of construction, optimize integrated transport systems, staying ahead of the game, because if we're staying still in this, particularly the construction sectors, other countries will take it over. Okay, and food processing as well within the agri-tech arenas. But what kind of support would Innovate UK be looking to provide? Well, just by connecting you all together to find where the sector expertise within the AI and utilize that into your business. It's that connection service. Within Innovate UK, there is that network. I believe 600,000 innovators registered on one network. It could be something that you should be looking at actually connecting to. It's about building up the innovation community. What have you got here that already is an AI sector expertise, but actually how can we be building up and encouraging you to explore those not only industrial opportunities, but the academic thinking around the AI programming. So it's about delivering new trusted AI services. It's also about looking at how we're going to be elevating high growth potential within those sectors and supporting them in the right kind of way and offering the right kind of support. So as I said, it's actually initially within the Bridge AI program, and I'll describe what that program looks like in a minute, 100 million in. So that's going to be competition funding. That's going to be innovation grant funding. That's going to be looking at exploratory academic feasibility funding. It's going to be connecting you through whether it's kind of like building project support generally so that things can happen within the universities. Okay. And they are live now. This is not something we're going to do. This is something we're doing right now. I did a quick search, competitions, live, and engagement on whether your business is going to be able to take advantage of that. Even just approaching those conversations, you could be talking to the Bucks Business First Growth Hub and others like the EDGE programs to how your business is going to be orientated to before you even apply. And even when you have applied, there might be an occasion where you've got the funding. How are you going to maximize the impact on that? And again, Growth Hubs and EDGE services on hand. I did mention that none of this actually costs any money. This is a service that you could be taking up at no cost to your companies or research units. Anyway, competitions are there. Websites will be coming up in a minute if you want to find out more. Now, aside that, as I said, it's all about the support that you would actually receive in order to maximize your environment within that Bridge AI program. So the Bridge AI is literally like a kind of a community that Innovate UK is pulling together in order to maximise the UK opportunity on this. So effectively, you join the community, obviously, at no cost. What are you going to get? You're going to get newsletters. You're going to get intel on things that are coming down the line that haven't been announced yet. You're going to get opportunities to join networking functions. You're going to get opportunities to be briefed on the competitions before they land. You might also think, well, hang on, I haven't got the right collaborator on this. You'll be informed where others are looking perhaps for you to come together, think about it, and collaborate together. That's the CR&D type grants that you get, collaborative research. The clue is collaboration. So we need to connect people together before we get going on the competitions. All of that is centered within the Bridge AI arena at Innovate UK. That QR code will take you to where not only you can join that excitement, but actually see where all the funding opportunities are. And then the other way of doing it is just simply putting up websites. But you know, as I said, no wrong door. There's an email address, there's a Twitter look. You know, it's Bruce. I'm kind of a Wickham local lad, but actually a national role of making sure that this happens. So do get in touch with me and I can then stitch you to any of that and other things other than AI, that big first slide that I talked to. And I hope that kind of helps. I'm here for the duration and happy to talk to how we can be helping you out. Okay, many thanks.
Thank you, Bruce. I'd like to now invite you to think about all those questions that might have been coming through and you're thinking about just now. So let's start our panel discussion and questions and answers. And I'd like to invite to the panel Justin, please, Dr. Nick Day from Bucks New University, Robert Lee from the RIAS Group, Rob Pocock from Red Helix, and David Riley from the Buckinghamshire LEP. If you'd all like to come up, please. Okay, thank you. Justin, we've sort of got to know you already this morning, but I wonder if the others of you, just in one or two sentences only, because we haven't got too much time, if you could just introduce yourselves and what your focus is on AI. You will find microphones in front of you. They've got an on-off switch, and you can turn them on and off as you're talking. Feel free.
Testing, 1, 2. That's good. Hi there, everybody. My name is Dr. Nicholas Day. I'm an academic here at this university. I'm a colleague of Justin. I work in the School of Creative and Digital Industries, and I lead the computing degree that we have here. Or you could say artificial intelligence is the evolution of computing. So we're very interested in that. And my specific focus is for teaching these programming languages. That's what I do in terms of the course that we have here. But in terms of research, I'm very interested in how AI is influencing education, as an educator, obviously, specifically around authentic assessment. So in an age of generative AI, What does that mean for the way we assess our students? How do we measure their ability? So I'll leave it there.
Thank you very much. My name's Robert Lee, and I run and own a company. It's a media and marketing agency. We also have a specialism as well in data analysis and software development. I know it seems a bit of a mixture there, but trust me, it works for us. And we use AI in pretty much everything that we do. We also run a program as well in Milton Keynes, which is supported by Google. It's called Google Developer Group, and we also speak regularly as well to alumni and students around the UK as well as part of something called Google Developer Group Academy. So yes, I'm looking forward to passing on and telling you as much information as I can about AI and machine learning today.
Hello everyone, my name is David Riley. I work for Buckinghamshire Local Enterprise Partnership. I look after digital and innovation investments in this county. That includes enterprise zones such as Westcott Space Centre, Silverstone and Pinewood. I'm here to inspire you about the potential of AI, so looking forward to this debate.
Hi, I'm Rob Pocock. I'm Technology Director at Red Helix. My interest in AI is how we've been using it as an industry over the last number of years to protect our data and our networks, and also the perceived threat of AI to not protect our networks and our infrastructure, and how we believe the hackers may start using AI to attack us.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I'm going to pose the first question because I think it's probably something that's the most obvious one. Many of us here today haven't grown up or didn't start at school, let's put it that way, with the emails, internet or Microsoft Office. So how do you propose that we best get prepared for AI? I don't know who would like to take that first question.
I'm happy to. So you started with a quote, Heather, from Eleanor Roosevelt, and I propose another quote. The future of AI will be given to those who test and try it. And I think one of the key messages that we at the LEP would like to give to small business here is we need to start testing it and trialing it. So I know that there was a hand raised earlier about who has used ChatGPT, but my next question is, who has ChatGPT app on their mobile phone right now? So a handful of you. And I asked this question because I think it's really important for us, predominantly small business, to actually start testing and learning it, because that's going to transform your own understanding of its use within your business. So I think we had some really inspiring talk about Justin, about how it's evolved over time. But I think the flavor of AI for us to use today is generative AI, which is ChatGPT, which we're all familiar with. And it's really easy to get value from it by just downloading it onto your phone and just getting familiar with using it. So for me, it's all about providing a forum for testing and learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Anybody else like to take that one?
Yeah, I can. Am I on? Yeah. So yeah, just adding to that. So many people will say sort of, generative AI and AI. They will sort of like conflate the two and think generative AI. But I agree, generative AI, ChatGPT and the like is like the current wave. There's an awful lot going on there. And in terms of using that, particularly in smaller business, then the answer is to play with it. So it's not scary, it's not difficult to use. There's lots of free tools that are available for you to find out about it. So there's that side of things. At the same time, there's if you're working in business and you already have existing solutions, then you can add to that using generative AI in a variety of ways. But the best way of finding out kind of what it's capable of is to play with it. But also, depending on the nature of your business, you will find that there are tools that you are using where you already have stuff in place and vendors of various software that you're using will be integrating AI into it for you. So it's kind of a low effort introduction in that everybody, within the sort of business software sector are tripping over themselves to introduce AI into it. So you will naturally get part of that as well. So yeah, play with it, get to understand it, understand the breadth of it as well. There are software vendors who have AI built into it from, for a fair time ago, as I've mentioned already, and it may be that you find out when you're looking for a particular business solution, don't necessarily look for an AI solution, but look for a solution that matches your business need, and you will find that AI probably will come along with it anyway in due course. So in that sense, that's going to happen for you anyway. But yeah, do play with it, absolutely.
Thank you. Well, let's open the floor to you guys. We've got some questions that have come in online, and there are going to be more questions that come in online, and I'm just looking at my colleague because I think I probably need to forward the slide on, and I'm being told off for not forwarding the slides quite so much. They're there. We've bypassed that one. And that's, I will come to that one in a moment. Well, I'll tell you what's coming in online. Brilliant. Okay. It's always good having an assistant, isn't it? So, phew, we'll get away with that one. So, first of all, questions. I know questions were coming into my head as we were going through. We've got we've also got a microphone racing its way towards you, which hopefully will be on already. It is.
Hello?
Yeah.
Right, my question is this, that the content that's been generated by AI, the biggest problem that we're having is we're not too sure legally where we stand when selling that content to our clients. The advice, I work in advertising, the advice of my industry is to get the clients to sign some form of indemnity and make them the end user. But I know for a lot of small companies, our clients don't want to do that, so it's a real barrier to using AI to produce creative works.
Who would like to answer that one? Rob?
When you're talking about content, what do you actually mean? Is it image, text, both, right? I think.
So if the end content is something like an ad or something, that's obviously image and text together.
Right. Okay. I guess the way how we use it in particular and is that we will ask it questions about maybe particular personas, for example, and then we still have to come up and imagine what the creative or what is the customer's problem that they're trying to solve, and then figure out creatively how we can address that. We tend to do it from that perspective, as in to guide us into the way that we need to be thinking about how to solve the customer's issues, as opposed to actually coming up with the idea itself of making the ad. That's, I hope I've explained myself clearly there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it wasn't really my question. I suppose my question is this, is that if you use something like Midjourney to create an image...
And it's an amalgamation of a whole bunch of other images,
well,
yeah.
Yes, yeah. But you're not too sure at the moment, legally, where they stand in using that image. Different countries have different copyright laws.
I think, first of all, you'd need to look exactly. We don't use it internally for our clients, right? But I think you'd have to look very carefully at what those T's and C's say about the usage of Midjourney's output. I think that's where you need to kind of look in the first instance. I really can't say. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that one.
Does anybody else would like to answer that one? Because IP and copyright, inevitable questions, they come up a lot. Justin?
Yeah, so I can't answer it legally, but what I would say, and we say it to our students as well, which is like referenceability, so to say where your stuff comes from somewhere. So in the same with images, if you're getting images off the internet, there's sort of licensing rules around that for copyright, and they will tell you, outside of AI, when you can use that image. Some of it will be sort of, require a fee. Some of it just requires referenceability. So I'd say there's a degree of sort of transparency in where sort of images have come from. I don't think there's been any kind of like legal cases of copyright around that. I think the normal sort of thing would sort of come around in terms of how close something is. I'm reminded of Ed Sheeran when he had his case in terms of copying things, whether he was using it, well, he wasn't using AI. So AI is a tool. If you come up with something which is so close to what someone else has done, then maybe they would have a sort of an intellectual claim on it. So I think, again, AI is a tool, and you're using that. I don't think there's anything. Yes. I think there's a sort of a debate still to be had legally in that a lot of generative AI is feeding off copyrighted material, both images and text. So that debate is still be had. So I don't think you're likely to be sort of nobbled from a legal point of view on that point of view. But if something is sufficiently close, there could be copyright type claims. And I think the best thing at the moment is to keep your ear to the ground as the rest of us are as legals try and catch up, which is normally sort of behind. But meanwhile, just be sort of transparent about what you're doing.
Hopefully that has answered your question. I don't know if anybody else wants to chip in with something new. I've got loads of questions here, and I know that they're coming in online as well. Lady at the back.
I've posted this as well, but one of the questions that we had working in the legal industries, how quickly we need to get internal policies in place when using generative platforms such as ChatGPT. And our particular question is, how true is it inputting, say a colleague accidentally inputted private or confidential information into ChatGPT? How true is it that is then in the public domain, and how difficult is it to get that information back? I suppose once it's in, and that's the question I had.
It's a good question. I'm looking at these faces to see who might be interested in answering that one. And
There
they've
was-
all got that look of,
There was something recently where some Amazon employees, what they did was they were using ChatGPT. They were using it for all sorts of things to try and figure out exactly just general business case stuff. But they then had an internal policy which was then sent around to say, well, look, you've got to stop using it, because it depends as well on what version you're using. If you're using the freely available version, right, then that's going out to everybody else, and it's probabilistic at that point. If you're using something which is enterprise grade, again, read the terms and conditions of that, because it may or may not inadvertently be porous. And what I mean by that, there might be some bits of information that gets leaked outside of what the confines of that language model is. So you just have to be careful and read the T's and C's quite a bit.
Yeah, to add to what's been said, I recommend you as a small business owner to create a really simple guidance for your staff and how they're using ChatGPT, and just update it regularly. That's important, because if you are sharing private and confidential information into the public index, potentially that's going to be a big problem. So you need to be quite clear on the guidance, and that should evolve over time, but it provides a kind of base mark of how you want to work and how you want your staff to share very private information. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, just to fall on that, it's interesting that a question like that comes up whilst we're talking about AI, because that question should actually come up when we're talking about data. And for many years, there's been technologies, there's been processes, and there's been regulations about what data we can share and can't share. And I tend to think that questions specifically about AI actually are much broader than the AI conversation. And as we're saying here on the panel, data sharing is always a problem, and the legal bounds of data sharing haven't really changed. You don't share personal data, full stop. And just because you're using an AI system to get more information out of it, the same rules and regulations actually apply.
Justin.
Very quick response on that one. If it's free, you are the product. Yeah, I think that's true for sort of social media and all the rest of it. So if you're putting information into something that's free, they are using it for a reason. Now, it might be sort of ad generation and they're doing it that way, but they may be doing it for other purposes. There are paid versions of ChatGPT and others where they will have specific assurances about making sure that that data is not used for training purposes.
Thank you. And I think we've got some questions coming in online. So my very able assistant here is just going through all of the questions. What would be one that comes to the top of the list there, Lindsay?
Share one that Ian has put on there. So to the employers in the room, not the panel, what would you advise a university to do to ensure students and apprentices enter the workplace with the AI skills that you need? Although we do have some employers on the panel, so what do students need to learn to be ready?
Not just computing students.
Well, I was going to take that first to Nick, actually. Let's see what computing students perhaps.
Sure. So in terms of computing, I do remind the students that if they're using these products, they need to be aware that they will in turn be competing with them. Because employers will also be looking at these to see whether students are actually adding any additional value. So it's very important that students are aware of that. And just to bring in the authentic assessment route, I don't think it's changed the mission of the university. Because again, if you think about critical thinking, you know, we can't just blindly believe everything we read on the internet or that we get out of a generative system. So we need to teach our students to still critique what they see in front of them, evaluate the source, look at respected authors and credible authors in the field. So I don't think it's changed in one sense, the importance of problem solving, the importance of critical thinking, but students just need to be aware that it's changing rapidly. And we're likely to see a huge shift, I don't need to tell you that, you already know that, in the way that we work in future. Just to bring back to the earlier question in terms of, you know, will you have to go out there to get AI? Well, actually, it's coming to you because it's coming to Office very soon. Microsoft announced in March that they're going to embed it within Office, so it will be on your doorstep. Be writing your emails and writing your PowerPoints and your Word documents. So it is coming very soon to Office products near you.
I'm going to throw this open to Rob. What would you like the university to do?
I think the universities need to give a balanced answer or a balanced approach to the use and the misuse of AI. I know today is all about how great AI is and the usage of it. As the industry I'm in, we're very aware of the benefits and the downside of AI. And I think giving the students the ability to view, see, and experience both will give them that grounding that you know it is a tool, as we say, and I think that's the important thing of today. AI is a tool, not a process, and it's not the silver bullet which is going to make all our businesses work really well. And it's also not the silver bullet, if there's such a thing, for the bad people to attack us really well. It is another tool. So I think given that balanced approach and that true understanding means they can take that knowledge back into the industry, because industry leaders, most of us are pretty old. So we didn't grow up with AI. I know it started in the 1950s, but in the major populace, it wasn't known about. And I think the students of today can take that knowledge back into the industry and educate themselves in the industry and use that knowledge going forward.
Brilliant, and I think we've got one more question that our online viewers has posed.
So we've got a question from Helen Barrett from Movies. Hospitality is desperately short of chefs with fewer and fewer entering the profession. How can AI help in that area?
Oh, interesting question. AI and chefs. Who could I land that one on? Anybody willing to, Justin? Well done, Robert, yes.
I actually think that the problem with AI and chefs is you can't look at it from the point of upskilling chefs in AI, right? That's not a thing. I think you have to look at it very logically in the fact that what is it that the problem actually is? We haven't got chefs. Can AI be used to find chefs, right? Do you see what I mean? As opposed to thinking about it from the point of view of, oh, we need to train chefs to use AI. That's not going to work. So, yeah, look at the problem first, and then afterwards, then figure out what the options are. It's just standard problem solving, you know, and then figure out what the criteria needs to be, make the evaluation, and then implement the decision. I think those things are things where AI will become useful, because on the one side, the chef needs a job, and on the other side, businesses need, and those restaurants need to have chefs to employ.
Thank you. Justin, anything to add to that one?
Well, very brief response. Generally speaking, computers can't smell or taste, although there are that sort of capability, you know, in some areas, so they can do that. And what I was mentioning earlier in terms of, like, you know, A/B testing or whatever it is, they can be used for sort of, you know, testing and producing different things. So that's, you know, maybe creating, you know, new recipes or whatever it is, and working out what's optimal for us. They're not going to replace, you know, chefs that are cooking in the kitchen. You know, there are other technologies. You know, we all sort of, you know, saw the advent of microwaves and things along those lines. So, you know, AI is not a panacea. There are some things that are going to be kind of out of bounds for AI for a long time. I won't say never, but I don't think we have to worry about that one just yet.
Thank you very much. Helen, I hope that's answered your question online. And I guess the answer from that one is Heston Blumenthal might have something to fear in the future with different types of recipes. Are there any more questions in the room that you'd like to ask? Yes, thank you. Yes, if you could just make your voice heard. If you need a microphone, we can raise a microphone to you. We're just holding doors open. That's why the microphone's not going. Lunch is arriving as we speak. Hold on, it's just coming. It's the lady in green.
Just quickly, I just wanted to know, are you aware of anything that's happening to redress the bias in AI? Because that's really significant.
I can say something on that. AI is created by humans. Yeah. I think that kind of says it all. It is inherently biased. It will always be that way. It has not created itself. So whatever biases we have and the people that we train it on, that's even historical. It goes back from, like, you know, so many thousands of years. So that's already baked into the system already. I guess the difference is now that because it can be ubiquitous and it can reach so many different people, there is a chance to correct the bias that has been baked in, or to at least alleviate it to some degree. But yes, it's already in there.
Brilliant, thank you. Anybody else on that one? Nick, you look as if you want to say something.
So I have, talking to various people, I'm aware there are a lot of people who are working on different algorithms to look at this. I think it, as mentioned, it does reveal bias, which is out there in the data. And I think context is important. I think one of the things the machines still struggle with is context. It just sees numbers. It doesn't understand what goes behind those numbers and those values. So I think, just from a personal view of being an educator, I'm really encouraged to see more women taking part in STEM. So whether or not we will achieve 100% equality across various categories, I'm encouraged to see that there are various strategies nationwide, worldwide, which are trying to address those issues of bias and inequality. But I'm afraid I can't name any specific ones within that. But I know, from talking to various people, I'm aware that is a big area of research, inclusion, equality, diversity, and hopefully over time we will see more balance coming into that as we move forward.
Thank you. We did ask some questions before this event, and one of the questions that came up, so I'm just going to repeat this back, It came from Richard Johnson at the Gang. I don't know if you're in the room or online. Quite simply, can AI have ideas? Justin.
That's a good one. So it's more of a philosophical question, I guess. There are emergent behaviours, as it's described, from AI systems where they can appear to have ideas. So I guess it's going to be down to the definition of what an idea is. Obviously, we're used to sort of doing that in the context of human discourse rather than machines. And the question is like, how different actually is that? But what I think I would say is that AI has to sort of build on data that it is given, which goes into the sort of the bias thing, and it can come up with unique things. So when I mentioned AlphaGo, for example, it made moves which were thought to be mistakes. They thought, oh no, that's not right. It's clearly made a move and it's probably going to lose. And actually it won, and it actually changed the way that human beings now play Go, the game, because of things that it came up with. So in that sense, then yes, it can come up with things that are new and innovative that we may not have done ourselves.
Thank you. Robert.
No. It can't it can't make a new idea up, right? Like the way how I go to bed and I dream and I imagine something, I come and I tell people about it the next day or something like that. It can't do that, right? It's probabilistic. So basically, all the information that it's been fed, it then makes a decision about whether that's the next best probability in order to spit out. It can hallucinate, right? It's like this really intelligent best friend that you might have, but sometimes they say stupid things, right? And you mistake those as an idea, no? But it isn't. It's just a hallucination of the data, the probabilistic determination of that data that's output.
Respond to that. So in some sense, I agree. It's the data that it's given. What AI is doing a lot of the time is it is finding patterns in data. That's what it's doing at a fundamental level. It's easy to confuse it with, whether it's conscious or having a human mind. It doesn't. Whether it will do, we'll leave that to philosophers. But it finds patterns in data, and it may find patterns in data that we haven't previously found. Whether you attribute that as an idea or not, question of semantics.
David.
I was going to say very clearly that it provides a fantastic platform for ideas and inspiration. So I'll give you an example. Recently I was involved in a joint connectivity bid, and we were seeking ideas for a brand name for our project. One of the participants put the question into ChatGPT, and instantly we had 8 ideas of potential brand names. Now, we may not have used all those brand names, but it gave us inspiration and ideas. So one of my key points is connecting with earlier is that if we have this tool on our mobile phone, as small business owners, we're always really busy. So I believe that generative AI is a fantastic platform for stimulating ideas. Whether we use them or not is really up for debate. But often when we are a small business, we're really, really busy. We're time constrained. And this is where ChatGPT can be so useful in terms of improving our efficiency, is providing a source of inspiration, lists of ideas that can really save us time and make us more impactful.
Thank you, David. And I think we've got one last question in the audience. Julia.
Hi. I was just curious to know, how can we train all curriculum school teachers to A, use it, and B, teach their students to use it and use it appropriately?
Right, who's going to answer that one? Schools. Nick, you're there. You're looking enthusiastic on that one.
Give it a go. I'll give it a go. So I mentioned Office earlier. I think that is inevitable, that it's going to come to the doorstep of all of us in future. It'd be hard to avoid it. So in one sense, we're just going to adapt to living with it. I think like we moved from handwriting, letters and essays and various pieces of coursework to actually using Microsoft Word, of course. That was revolutionary at the time. And moving from written letters to emails. This is, I just think, the next step in the chain. So in one sense, I think you won't have to. It will just happen naturally. But in terms of just getting ahead, I think one thing is just to get involved with it, I think, in terms of looking at ChatGPT, trying it out. One thing we do here at the university is we can't stop students using it, obviously. Don't think you'll be able to either. But just talk them through it and help them to understand what they should, why they're using it, what it can be used for. Help them to critique what it returns, don't just trust it blindly. And have a process in place for, if they do submit work with it, just referencing where it came from. I think that's one of the things we encourage here at the university, is just to make sure that we reference, which is good practice anyway. They'd have to do that in an essay regardless. So that's one of the things that we try and encourage.
Yeah, to give you some experience from an industry which has heavily used AI, it hasn't solved our shortage of skill. No, in fact, it's got bigger. We need more security engineers and more cyber engineers now. We are using AI than we did 10 years ago. So it's, I think the first place is a very non-technical answer is to convince the teachers that it's good for them. It's not going to replace their jobs. It's not going to make them thicker, or the students thicker. It's just going to change your skill set. A good example, sort of go back not centuries or decades, is the calculator didn't stop us teaching maths at school. Yeah, what it did was improve the maths at school, and we now teach better maths at school and more complicated maths at school, because we take some of the mundane, the process out of, I can use a calculator. Yes, we still teach long division, but how many of us still use long division when we've got a calculator on our iPhone? You know, but we know how to, and I think that's the difference in the skill set, is understanding skills will change, not disappear.
Justin.
Yeah, the youth of today are, there we are. We're on. The youth of today and the youth of any time really, they teach us as well. So, you know, everyone's used to sort of, you know, the 3-year-old telling granddad how to record a program using the VCR, right? It's going to be the same kind of thing with AI. Students, as Nick was saying, they will use it anyway. They will find ways of using it. It's a relatively new technology. I'm on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram. So I think, you know, the youth will teach us how to use it. And then sort of the reverse of that is, you know, we need to teach them how to use it responsibly. So I was looking at an assessment today actually, and I was sort of like suspicious about whether it had AI content in it or not. There are sort of traits in there, although it's going to get harder and harder to distinguish. So I think we need to sort of like fall back onto human interactions in a way that we've not had to in a very long time, and actually engage in conversation. So if someone's producing a report, is actually challenge and converse with them. You know, how authentic is the response or the report or assignment, you know, where has that come from? So we have to assess their understanding in new ways. But yes, it'll be a collaborative effort, and all generations will learn together on this one.
Just to clarify that question again, was it a little bit more of a technical thing that you wanted to know how you could do it?
No, I suppose I was worried that the students would get there before the teachers.
Ah, right.
And it would be nice if it was the other way around, and the teachers were actually in the game and using stuff, not being afraid of it.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, from a practical perspective of how it could be achieved, you could literally just stick a camera in that classroom, 2 cameras, one on the teacher, one on the pupils, and then afterwards check the engagement levels which are being attained, you know, during and after that particular class. Once you crunch that, you can get some sort of sentiment analysis on the transcript and all of the data that's compiled afterwards, and you can figure it out, basically. It takes some thinking about how it could be done, but it's easy for some a process like that to happen, which would then improve the level and quality of teaching. And also, you would have a defined result off of the back of the engagement that's taking place with the students already. So, yeah.
Yeah, quick response on that, just to follow. I think it will be a collaboration. There is a serious risk that the students will get there before we do. So we need to get engaged with them as partnership to sort of figure this stuff out together. And I think we need to remind students and learners why they're here. They are here to learn, to understand knowledge and concepts deeply, and to approach that authentically. If they are cheating, they are only cheating themselves. And I think that's a message we need to bring across as well.
So, thank you very much, panel. Really appreciate you being scrutinised there for all of the answers. I don't know about you, I quite like the sound of AI coming to Microsoft and looking forward to that. And I was just thinking how it could actually benefit me, but distressed now to find out that there are traits that somebody could find me out if I start to use it in my PowerPoints. So let's be careful on all of that. Quite like the idea of hallucinating AI though. Really? Okay. So I think we need to bring this conference to a close now. And I think we've heard all sorts of remarkable things this morning. We've explored how it can really turbocharge your businesses, your decision making, elevate customer experiences, operations, drive creativity. It's quite clear that AI is not just a buzzword, but it's actually a transformative force that we really need to embrace. So, I'm going to encourage you over lunchtime, which is still being set up at the back. So if you're wondering what the noise is at the back, although I have to say they've been incredibly quiet. Well done, guys. But that's being set up and you'll be able to network and ask all the questions over lunch. But before we do that, we've got... Have you got Slido still open on your mobile phones? Sorry to take you back there. If you could have a little look. So, first question. What will you go away and work on as a result of today's events? You can tick lots of those, or none of them. Okay, so we're looking there. Well, it's good to see that there is a willingness to embrace change and getting it, new technological advancements and a culture of it within the company, and using it to achieve business goals. Really interesting. Planning reasons, to use it to help you plan. And the last question, just like before, what's not listed there? Are you going to use it for something else? And if so, what could that be? Let the 8 people have time to, 10, coming up with some answers. Brainstorming, more ideas, practical ideas on applications and its use. Downloading that app would be first step on the journey maybe. Food recipes. Just actually starting to use it. And if that's all we've done today, then that is really helpful. So I've got, Dave's just been indicating to me that he'd just like to add one more thing.
Yes, just quickly on behalf of Bucks, LEP and BBF, we are responding to the Bridge AI call-outs. So if any businesses do want to get involved in that, then please have a chat over lunchtime, and we're going to be sending quite a robust response to that. And we're really on top of what Bruce has been talking about in terms of what Innovate UK are doing with their funding and AI for Buckinghamshire. So hopefully we'll chat over lunch. Thank you.
So, just before we all go, I'm just going to go through and run through with you several events that we've got coming up. We've got the Buckinghamshire Business Festival coming up towards the end of the year, so do come along to that. We've also got a mentoring programme that is can also be there to help you, and we've got some advisors with us today. So if you'd like to go and talk to them and find out about mentoring, then please do. Exporting. How many of you have thought about it, but never actually started? Here's a good opportunity to come and find out where on earth to start, which country is the best one to go to, which is the easiest one, which has the less bureaucracy. It's probably a question to ask ChatGPT when you've downloaded the app. Net Zero MK, we've got some events coming up there, 30th of November. What's good for the planet is good for business. AI is good for business as well. That's coming up 30th of November, and we have Chris Hines there, who has been the founder of Surfers Against Sewerage. And I have to ask this, otherwise I know my team would have a bit of a go at me afterwards. Can any of you offer a young person work experience? We are always on the lookout, and training providers, schools, university, we're always on the lookout for more opportunities for young people to go and get more work experience. We've got two members from the skills team here going to put up their hands, Julia, Rob, so that you can identify them. If you have any work experience opportunities, please collar them over lunch. We'd love to hear from you. And here's a whole raft of things that Buckinghamshire Business First can help you with. So there are some people around. If you are a member of BBF, please could you identify yourself so that people know who to go and talk to. We've got Jane, we've got Ian, and we've got Russell there, who you could have a quick word with over lunch. So finally, I would just like to say thank you very much indeed to Bucks New University to being such a fabulous host this morning. Thank you very much. Letting us find out everything that's going on here. And, well, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing the new atrium. Thank you also to Rias for helping us to live stream this event. Thank you for all of our online viewers this morning. And I'd also like to thank our marketing team, who spend hours sorting all of these things out, organising them, and people like myself and the speakers to get here on time, saying the right thing, hopefully, this morning. But above all, I'd really like to thank you for all of your active participation this morning. I hope you've learned something and you've gained some knowledge and some insights that's going to drive your businesses to new heights, perhaps. So safe travels, and may your businesses thrive in the era of AI-powered innovation. Enjoy your lunch. It's now ready at the back, I believe, and enjoy the networking. And thank you for coming. And somebody's trying to tell me something. I have no idea what it is. Oh, and the panel. Oh, yes, they've done something, I suppose, as well, haven't they? So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. I even had that written down and managed to ignore it, so my apologies. Thank you very much for coming. Enjoy lunch.